Mr. Marks was the last to open. He'll be the first to close. Mr. Marks, are you ready?
I am ready.
If you're ready, I will start the microphone and the clock for you, and you may begin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank everyone for coming out and those viewing from home. I would just like to say, I mentioned some of my vision issues during answering some of the questions, and I think it's also equally important where I've served for a number of years on the council and also was a member of the school committee and was part of the new schools, which are now 15 years old, that came into effect back some years ago. But I also think it's important as a member of the council to look to see what I've accomplished over the years, and not just to say, well, this is my vision, which is nice to have, but what have you done? Did you just occupy a seat, or did you get results? And I'd like to go over a few initiatives, and again, these are things that I championed, and I thank my colleagues for supporting also, but it was my resolution that led to the first ever budget line item for the arts. And we're on the second year and doubled the budget line item, which helps thousands of residents in this community get access to the arts, from school-age children to senior citizens. Traffic calming approaches. I've been discussing traffic calming approaches for over 14 years in this community, widening sidewalks, thermoplastic crosswalks, and raised crosswalks. Limiting the number of months odd even parking is in effect was my resolution to free up parking spots. The no-knock ordinance I actually wrote to regulate door-to-door solicitors in our community. I organized the committee, a dog park committee, and Jim Silver's in the audience here, to push this long-awaited dog park into the community, which is well needed. We have 23 parks in the city. We need to dedicate one for dog lovers in our community. I was instrumental in lowering the age of eligibility for a senior property tax exemption from age 70 to 65, helping seniors on fixed income. I was a leader in the senior swim, which used to be at the high school, and then we relocated them here at the, it used to be the Mera Suites, and now they're back at the high school. And also, I refused to vote for the budget unless there was money in there for a library bathroom, and that was put in 2 years ago, and I'm very proud of that. Thank you very much, and I hope you get out November 3rd.
Thank you, Mr. Marks. Next to close is Mr. Osborne. You may begin.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight, and for those at home for your patience. It's always humbling to see folks engaged in hearing their counselors side by side, so I thank you for your efforts. Over the past decade, I've taken on many roles in local nonprofit organizations because I believe in Medford. I believe in the goodwill of the people of Medford. And to borrow a term from my good friend John Falco, he talks about one Medford. And I think he's got that right. It's not about South Medford or North Medford or West Medford. It's the one Medford, and we are one Medford when we work together. I want to be a leader on City Council that brings us together so that we can have the important debates civilly in these chambers. My view of Medford is shaped by the fact that I was brought here at a very young age. My parents came because they had an opportunity to rent an apartment. They became homeowners. They came with a singular goal that they were going to make sure their children had the opportunity that they never had. They took whatever job they could. They worked hard. They watched over their children. And I'm happy to say, me and my two older brothers graduated from Medford Public Schools. We went on to earn college degrees. I share that story with you because I think it's a typical Medford story. Hardworking people looking out for family and for neighbors. I'm a candidate for Medford City Council to continue and ensure that Medford remains a place that is open, diverse, and inviting. My career as an attorney and my work in the community demonstrate I possess the skills, education, and experience to be your accessible, accountable advocate at City Hall. I ask for your vote on November 3rd. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Next to close is Mr. Falco. Oh. You may begin.
Thank you. I'd like to begin by thanking Jay Campbell, thanking everyone here for coming tonight, and everyone watching at home. I decided to seek a seat on the Medford City Council after being urged by residents who believe that my professionalism and proactive approach will bring civility, accountability, and results to the Medford City Council. This is the most pivotal election in the last 30 years as we are in the midst of political, economic, and cultural change. This is our opportunity to come together as one Medford to address these challenges. Each of us has an important voice to be heard and a contribution to make towards Medford's ongoing vitality. The foundation of my vision for Medford and what I will advocate for as your counselor is built upon what residents have expressed as their hopes for the future of our city. As your city councilor, I will advocate for economic development. This includes improvements to our business districts by making them safer and more welcoming, such as improved lighting, safer street conditions for pedestrians and bicyclists, a review of our city ordinances to ensure that we are attracting and retaining the best stores and businesses, and appropriate funding of the management of the Chevalier Theater. As your city councilor, I will advocate for financial and city planning. This includes the creation of a master plan that will position Medford to apply for local, state, and federal grants. As your city councilor, I will advocate for making government more accessible. A 311 system where residents can report problems and receive notification when they're resolved. In a review of the city charter. As your city councilor, I will advocate to protect our neighborhoods. This includes collaborating with residents to address concerns such as the planned Everett Casino, unsafe playgrounds, and the opioid crisis. Furthermore, I will work with residents to address traffic congestion and parking issues. Throughout the past 6 years on the school committee, I have earned the reputation of a leader who is proactive, professional, approachable, and a consensus builder who gets the job done. I promise that when elected in November, I will invest those same qualities as your city councilor. I respectfully ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 3rd. If you need more information, please go to my website, johnfalco.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Falco. Next to provide closing remarks is Ms. Aforo.
Okay, there we go. How's that? Okay. As I've told you, this is my first campaign. I'm running a self-funded candidacy and refusing to accept campaign donations to highlight my concern about the excessive influence of money in our elections, even at the municipal level. Sorry with the mic here. The cost of running for office should not be so high that it becomes a barrier to entry for the average citizen, effectively shutting out people who have the commitment and will to seek public office but cannot afford to do so. I'm hoping to demonstrate that traditional person-to-person outreach and campaign efforts are enough to get the message out to voters. I want to encourage my fellow citizens to run for office based on their commitment and desire to serve, not the size of their bank accounts. That said, I'm running for City Council because I do care about my fellow citizens, and it's a wonderful opportunity during this change election time to make it a better place to live. If elected, I will focus on constituent services, paying close attention to the needs and issues of importance to all citizens. I'm sorry, pull back on the mic. Okay, sorry, I'm having a little trouble sharing a mic here. I'll propose campaign spending limits. I'll work to improve Medford Square and commercial centers and support local businesses. And I support the preservation and expansion of green space for the benefit of all. It's been an honor and privilege to run for Medford City Council, and I humbly and respectfully ask my fellow citizens to grant me one of your votes in November. Medford is a remarkable city with an outstanding history, beautiful resources, and an engaged, informed, and diverse population. The people of Medford deserve government as good as they are. If elected, I will stand up for every citizen's right to good government with honesty and accountability. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Aforo. Closing remarks by Mr. Caravillo.
Thank you. Again, I want to start by thanking Jay for taking on this daunting task of putting this together. You've done a great job, and I hope you continue with the next two. Medford is a great place to live. I've lived and called it my home for 61 years. I own a home here, I operate my business here, and my children and grandchildren live here and attend our public schools. I don't have 10 to 15 years of council experience like some of my other leaders here, but I feel that in my 3.5 years here, I've made a mark on the council. I've been a leader, and I feel with my leadership and along with our new mayor, I will be able to help make Medford an even better place to live, and I feel that my experience in the city council can help me do that job. As a leader on the council and in our city's business and civic organizations, I will work to revitalize business districts and help to sustain the locally owned businesses that serve our families. We must preserve Medford's unique quality of life by continuing our services to all, from youth to seniors. We need to find creative ways to protect our unique character of our services. We need to make our streets safe and inviting for walkers, cyclists, to calm traffic and expand transportation alternatives. As your counselor, I will work to ensure the safety and security of our residents. You can count on me to be accessible, effective, and committed to the great future of our city. I have enjoyed serving the people over the past 2 terms. I answer the call when the phone rings, I listen intently to your questions and needs, and I respond appropriately. I will continue to be your full-time counselor. I owe no allegiance to anyone except you, the taxpayers and the residents. It would be my honor to continue to serve the City Council, and I respectfully ask for your vote on November 3rd. My name is Richard Caraviello, and my name is the first one on the ballot this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caraviello. And closing by Mr. Ruggiero next.
Thank you. I want you to kind of imagine my campaign like a tree for a moment here. Growing up on a farm, it seems like a natural analogy. The soil of my tree, I think the most important thing we can do in Medford is be respectful of each other. I've seen a lot of people come here and go and leave kind of disgusted by the words that they hear uttered behind the rail. Above all, I think tone matters. The words, to paraphrase, the words we speak become the city we live in, and I promise to always be respectful to someone who I disagree with or I agree with. Beyond that, the roots of my campaign are charter reform. I think that is the one most essential issue that we have in Medford. If we cannot address the charter, then we can deal with one problem at a time, and there's a lot of great work done, sort of dealing with symptoms of the problem. But if we address charter reform, then we can really sit down as a city and say, what works best for us? How can we get more conversation going? I've been in this room with 2 other people during City Council. I love this. Let's get more people during City Council. Beyond that, the branches, the 3 important ideas of my campaign. 1, adding more transparency to local government. I've already talked a little bit about my website and about that. 2, rebuilding our roads in our downtown squares. I've talked a little bit about that. I just don't have time to go into more. Please call me at 844-TAKE-GVT. Anytime, we'll talk about it. The third thing I want to talk about that I haven't had a chance to mention is also a community watch program. I'm working with Police Chief Sacco right now. We're going to create a citywide community watch program. It's happening. I'm launching the website in December, maybe February, with the other stuff I'm working on too. Please get involved. It'll help us really sort of have more conversations with us at all. Ultimately, like I've said before, words are cheap. You don't really know me. I've only lived here for 2 years. However, what I can promise you is whether I win or lose, I'm going to keep working on these issues. Whether I win or lose, I'm still going to work on charter reform, I'm working on community watch, and I'm still going to come to every City Council meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ruggiero. And last but not least, closing by Ms. Lungo-Kern.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for staying awake and listening to us all speak. I know it's late. I don't want to go through all the things I've been proud to be a part of, happy to push for and fight for. I think maybe I'll just pick 2. One of the first things I ever fought for tirelessly with parents was creating equality in sports, helping create a girls hockey team up at Medford High School, which is still in effect and thriving today. One of the most recent things that I helped with and I'm proud of is the new DPW facility. My subcommittee on public safety, I was the chairwoman at the time. I led the council and the press through the poor state of the old DPW facility. I'd like to take the rest of my time just to talk about the future. I really am positive about the future of this city. We have change that is coming, and I hope to work with the new leadership. I hope to be reelected and work with the new leadership in January to move this city forward in a positive direction, to keep fighting for a dog park and a grant writer and the 311 system and capital improvement plan and a maintenance plan for our city. I promise that if I'm reelected, I will continue to do my homework. I will be honest and caring, passionate and compassionate. I will fight for what's right. I will never be pushed or swayed to make a vote that I don't believe is not in the best interest of the city. I will always do what's in the best interest of every taxpayer, every homeowner, and every ratepayer. So I respect that you've all been here, and I thank you for that, and have a great night, and thank you for the event.
This concludes round 2 of our debates, but I would just like to acknowledge these candidates. They all did a great job. They stayed on time, and it's not easy taking the hot seat, but they do it so that we all have our choice in November. And thank you. Thank you all very much. Have a nice night. Thank you for letting me join you. Yeah, nice to meet you too.